Welcome back to another hour of Scotch Hour. I'm Noah.
And I'm Jesse.
All right, this is episode 210. And this evening, we got a great lineup. We got the GlenTurret Scotch, single malt Scotch from the Highlands. From there, we have our shout-outs and get-it-togethers. Restaurant review being Spitz. Is it Mediterranean Grill? Something like that.
Spitz.
And then we have our movie review of the Final Destination Bloodlines. And it's unapologetically absurdity as far as some critics are saying. So we'll see whether or not we agree with that this evening. All right, real quickly, thank you for all those who watch us on YouTube and Rumble. We greatly appreciate your support, as well as all of you who listen to us on the many different podcast platforms. We also appreciate your support as well. If you do like our content, or this is the first time you're hearing us and you want to give us some support, please like, share, and subscribe. And most definitely leave some comments down below. We love to hear what your point of view on this GlenTurret that we are about to try, or what you thought about Final Destination Bloodlines.
Scotch Reviewed.
All right. I am actually very excited about this because even though there's still some controversy of whether or not this is the oldest running distillery in Scotland, hey, there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. This is the GlenTurret 2024 release of the Triple Wood. So they do this every year as of late. They do a wide selection of scotches. This is the Triple Wood. The Triple Wood is aged in both American and European oak casks that have been sherry seasoned, and also bourbon barrels to give it some extra well-rounded flavor. We're going to have some fun finding out about that. But the GlenTurret, here's the point. It is potentially the oldest working distillery in Scotland. So illicitly, they have been distilling some sort of alcohol since 1717, and then officially founded once they were willing to start paying some taxes by owner or such in 1763. It is owned by the Lalique Group, which probably helps explain, if that's the Lalique Crystal, the exquisite bottle they have here. They do have one wash still, one spirit still, a potential of 340,000 liters. And man, this is just a sexy bottle. We'll get back to that in just a minute. But I think this has something to do with Lalique being their owner. With some of their history, they've gone up and down just like anyone else, but currently owned by Lalique, as we mentioned. That early 1717 illicit distillery opening. The thing they say here is that most likely the reason it was able to survive is because, besides being right there on the coast of the Turret river, is that it was nestled well in that loch. So unless you were really looking for it, you weren't going to find it. It's also considered a Hosh distillery, which kind of means that because it was out there in the middle of nowhere and it was illicit, that if someone got lost and needed a place to stay, they were welcome to stay as opposed to freeze. Open to anyone as a bothy still distillery. They didn't close or lock the doors back in the day, probably didn't have a whole lot to worry about. Their water source is the Loch Turret in GlenTurret, and I know Noah has some fun details to share with us as well.
All right, so GlenTurret. We're going to try to dodge some of their wildest, dodge some of Death's wildest death scenes here as we try to talk about the GlenTurret's tours. No, just joking. But as we get through, anyways. So here with the GlenTurret, what we got here says that buckle up for a journey, the heart of Scotland's oldest working distillery, nestled in the Perthshire countryside. You'll be able to take the basic whiskey tour, which is 60 minutes long. It'll be a guided tour to where you can learn the time-honored traditions of whiskey making. At the end, you'll be able to enjoy 2 drams of their wonderful scotch from the basic lineup. There, no children under 12 are allowed. It does cost 25 Great British pounds, and if you can survive the death traps within the warehouse, you will be able to enjoy those 2 drams. From there, they have a step up called the Whiskey Flight and Tour. Here, you get to delve deeper into GlenTurret's distillery. With the tour and 4 drams of a guided walkthrough of those 4 drams at 75 Great British pounds, and in this case, you have to be 18 years old or older to enjoy that tour. No youngins, so make sure your escort's 18 or over if you're going there.
She always is.
Hopefully. Gotta keep it legal, right?
I mean, she keeps me on a leash.
All right. From there, we got the whiskey maker experience. And here it's 120 minutes long, 120 minute experience where you get to step into the shoes of the whiskey maker. And you get a in-depth sensory experience of 5 of their different drams. And you get to take home a 100 milliliter bottle. It does cost 125 Great British pounds, and it will be ever so worth it. But the last 2 experiences that they have, we got the Warehouse 9 experience. Here you get to tour their new Warehouse 9 with a special curated tasting. And they have a private experience, which you'll have to contact them on how you want to set up that private experience. And if you have to ask what the price is for either one of those, you can't afford it. You might as well go visit death and go visit your grave, because you ain't getting there in those tours.
Sad day.
Death's going to find a great way to crush your head with a whiskey barrel.
That's right. Kids will be wondering, why does this peated scotch taste almost human? All right, so we know they've got some great tours. We're super excited, partially because this is not a distillery that I believe either of us were very familiar with until recent, and part of it's very interesting. Now, you look at this bottle and this box. Thank you, Lalique and GlenTurret, for please continue to do so. But thank you for putting it in a box of some sort to protect it from the elements, light being the biggest one. But the second thing is, do not let this little box misguide you on weight, with Lalique being the design shop of the glass. This is a heavy ass bottle, and it is fantastic. 44% ABV. Again, we've got American oak, European oak. Those casks both seasoned. The bourbon barrels, those casks seasoned with sherry. The bourbon barrels to add some extra flavor. And this is the result. You can tell right away just by looking at it that it's got a solid wood topper. There is some design and beauty with that. They do have a plastic seal on it instead of a metal foil, but also, as you can see straight through the bottle, you can see that it does have a solid cork stopper. The wooden top is it's gorgeous. It's actually very much raw in the sense that they didn't over finish it to make it unmistakably wood. And it is also encrusted, if you will, embossed with their logo at the top. Upon opening, and we've had some great luck with these multiple wood finishes. It smells wonderful. The nose is dynamite right out the gate. And I am excited for this little gem in the Highlands, hidden in the Loke, away from the main eyes of the average wanderer. The Loke turret, being their water source, is only going to add to the excitement of everything about this is turret.
All right, I guess with that, it's time for our tasting notes and warp speed. Cheers. Okay, this GlenTurret is a wonderful expression from them. I've seen it before in the shelves. I've seen the box, didn't know who they were, what they were, and I never decided to pick them up. But to me, I'm pleasantly surprised by it, and maybe I shouldn't be, because we do like Highland scotches around here. In any case, to begin with, the presentation, I absolutely love it. I love it's almost, to me, it's like a royal blue with some like you can see some designs on the box when you look at it through certain reflections of the lights. Then you have the gold and then the white. It looks really classy, if you ask me. And then the bottle itself. Oh, my gosh. Okay, so I didn't know this, but you said the name of the parent company is Lalique. That is a crystal company. And when you look at the bottle and you actually feel it, it's a well-designed bottle. It has nice heft to it. And you can actually use it to store liquor on it after you're done with this particular bottle. So I love the presentation. Love how they use the wood in there. They use real cork. This is getting a 5 out of 5 for me. The label looks classy. The back label, it's clear pretty much with gold lettering, and in some lights it's really hard to see that there was any back labeling, but then with the right reflection you can actually see the wording on the back. So overall, once again, I love the presentation. Great presentation. The only thing I could ask for a little bit more is maybe a better box. But honestly, I'm just happy at this point that it comes in a box because so many distilleries seem to be moving away from the box or canister. So at this point, I'm just going to say I'm happy it has a box, a nice box. That fits well. That's not too large. All right. Moving forward. The color.
Backwards and forwards and backwards.
And forwards. Up and down.
What is Vanessa Kirby in it?
All right. So here for the color, I put Bronze Bombshell Demigod.
I like that.
I love the color. It's a nice bronze color to it, and if you were to think of if they used bronzing technique back in the old Greek days of making patronages to their gods and goddesses, this to me would be like the color of the bronze statue you would want for that designated, in this case, goddess or demigod. Great coloring, love it, gave it 5 out of 5. The nose. For me, the nose was creamy with notes of fudge and apple. There's a hint of cereal. There was a minute touch of a hint of cinnamon, as well as some mild earth tones, which I really enjoyed. This was my highest point total, which was 27 points. I really liked it. I'm not sure what else I would really want from it, but obviously I left room for improvement, giving it 27 out of 30 points. The palate to me was light-bodied, had an oily feel that coated the mouth, but then it also, this seems like an oxymoron, but it has a nice vanilla creaminess to it with some orchard fruit that led into mild cereal and ginger spice notes. From there, the palate led into the finish where I got mild maple with nuts, buttery biscuit, and cinnamon and smoke at the tail end with a long, lingering oil film finish. I really enjoyed the palate. I also enjoyed the finish. I gave them both 26 out of 30 points. That gives me 89 points. So that's the grand total. Would I take it to a black tie affair? And I would say yes. I think it's black tie affair worthy. Does it have a place on my shelf? Yes, it would have a place on my shelf. Would I take it to a game night? Yes, I would take it to a game night. Honestly, I think it's a great bottle. I wish we would have discovered it sooner. I also feel like as we give it more time to open up, that 89 points probably should creep up to maybe 90 or 91, because I do believe it's going to open up and taste even better in about another hour. But as of right now, it's a solid 89 for me.
All right. I'm only chuckling because it got an 89 for me as well, just in different ways as usual. All right. First of all, where it didn't vary, 5 out of 5 on the presentation. This bottle is unbelievably hefty for its shape and size. I do enjoy the colors, the livery, if you will, and amongst their range currently for this year, at least, they do have the white and navy or royal blue as their colors. The bottle, again, beautiful. It's textured. I appreciate that. I appreciate two things about this bottle. One, you're on a hot summer day, your fingers are a little slippery, you're pouring yourself another drink. I love the fact that the shape allows for a little slippage without dropping the bottle. Sometimes a straight bottle with
That's what she said.
with no texture causes a problem. The other thing is I really do love the texture they've
Ribbed for her pleasure.
Yeah, it's literally ribbed for her pleasure. So as you're pouring it, once again, and this is a heavy bottle, as you're pouring it, it doesn't slip out of your fingers if they're a little moist, which, happens. So with that, great bottle. I love it. 5 out of 5. The color for me, I loved your description. For me, man, this is liquid gold summer solstice energy. This is literally like, woo, I've been running lean and I haven't been drinking enough water. Energy in the mix. I love it. 5 out of 5 on the color. The nose for me is 26. I know you gave it a 27. It's a good nose, but the nose for me is very interesting. For me, it's very simple, and I do appreciate that. There's oak. I get this sense of copper with all the pennies. Final Destination, spoiler alerts. We're going to let you know now. Copper. There is literally raw sawdust, oak sawdust in there. And that is from both the European and the American oak, red oak, white oak. A hint of butterscotch and some maritime or briny, salty maltiness. Again, 26 on the nose for me. The palate was my win. I flipping love this palate, and it's because that oak comes through strong. It reminds me of so many great things in life, including great wines. The palate for me, it was my high point by far, 28. So 28. And here, man, the oak spices have popped from both the European oak. So you got the cinnamon and the American oak as well, which is more like a clove. There's tobacco. There is this teeny little hint of teakwood. But as we really get into the palate, right off the bat, super creamy. The cinnamon, the other spice from that European oak pops. The cinnamon, the ginger, They're all in there. The oaks, it's all beautiful. I don't really get a large sense of any fruit other than maybe just the slightest little hint of a clean citrus, a little lemon or lime in there possibly. But also the honey, the oak, I don't get any real smoke. I get zero peat. But the caramel, there's that little hint of caramel on the nose, and it comes through with the palate after it goes from that super creamy vanilla caramel to toffee. And then it dries out like a mofo. So the palate at 28. The finish for me is actually only right now a 25. It was my low point. And I don't mind it. Like, I love a dry finish. I love the oakiness. But for me, like, the tannins are absolutely popping. There's this little hint of nutmeg and the dry oak for days. It is unbelievable to me, the layers of complexity. That's what I love about this. The layers of complexity going from that super creamy vanilla caramel on the palate to this super dry, tannin-rich oak finish with just a little bit of nutmeg. Overall, also an 89. Black tie, yes, it's fun. Game night, yes, again, it's fun. It's right around that $70 price point right now here in Colorado. And does it have a spot on the shelf? Yes, it absolutely does. If for no other reason that they are claiming, and no one can disprove them at this point, that they are Scotland's oldest working distillery. But beyond that, everything else about it is great.
It's time for our shout-outs.
All right, shout out. And I'm sorry if I steal yours, but I'm just going to throw it out there, man. McLaren's team boss and team mates were all talking the big horse shit about Max Verstappen, making it look like they were just going to run away with it at the Emilia Romagna Formula One Grand Prix. Dun, 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 dun. Turn 2, Max Verstappen. Well done, well played. If anything else, though, man, a boring race in many ways at the front, not in the middle. At the front compared to a couple weeks ago when we saw Max really fighting to keep a lead. Hey, McLaren, why don't you try some of that? Anyway, thank you, Max, for keeping Formula One alive. And I did love the meme when he's like, I'm looking for some new haters because all my old ones are now fans. I don't have any. I'm not going to throw out any hate. No get it togethers. Just that shout out. Well played. Fun to watch for the first 5 minutes of the race, and then afterwards, it's like, all right.
All right, for short, Imola. Jesse can say the long name. I'll just say Imola. Max does deserve a shout out, but I'm going to give my shout out to 3 drivers, which is going to be Yuki Tsunoda, who started off from the pit because he was a dumbass and crashed in Q1.
A little slide.
And then also to the 2 Ferrari drivers, being Leclerc and Hamilton, where I think they started at 11 and 12 or something like that. And then they finished 4th and 6th. Leclerc, I think, kind of got like a little bit of a bum deal having to give up his spot because it would have been questionable whether or not the stewards would have gave him a 5-second penalty or not, but the team decided to be proactive, give the spot up, so that way they didn't have to face a 5-second penalty. But in any case, from where they started, all 3 of those drivers, where they ended up in the race, congrats to all of them making it to where they did. That was a great job for all of them.
This week's restaurant review, Spitz Mediterranean Grill, right there in Centennial off of Arapahoe Road.
Next to your friend in the diamond business.
You want to shoot first?
All right. It's located, obviously, like most restaurants, it seems like we visit, in a strip mall type of area. However, they did have like some outside patio seating there, which blocked some of the wind. which made it kind of nice to sit outside. So therefore, instead of my normal 5, I gave it a 6.
The exterior was a win.
Inside, it is, to me, it's like a Mediterranean fast foody type of place, which serves beer and has like a bar in there. It was kind of like, in my opinion, basic. Mm-hmm. And therefore, it got a basic score, a 6. Mm-hmm. The food, I got the gyro with beef, which had tiki sauce. I think it's tiki sauce, and there's some red onion, tomato, and French fries in there.
Fries.
And then I also, for my side, I got the waffle sweet potato fry, which came with some kind of sauce, some dipping sauce, which was really great. I don't know what kind of dipping sauce it was, but it tasted wonderful. And then I got a happy hour beer from, I think, was it Left Hand Brewery? No.
Yes.
No, it wasn't. Was it New Left Hand?
I think so.
18.
I thought it was 1265 or something like that.
Here, give me a second here, people.
All right, while he's talking,
it was Left Hand.
Menu. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, they had a pretty interesting menu that was fun, and the happy hour beer special was worth it.
Yeah, so the happy hour beer I got was Left Hand 1265 Pilsner, which I actually really loved. I thought it was a great Pilsner. Any case, meal was great. I love the flavors. The one thing I thought was really weird, because I made a comment to Jesse, he's like, when did they start putting French fries in gyros? Growing up, I never remember French fries being in the gyros, but in any case, it had nice flavors. The sweet potato fries were great. The beer was great. I gave it a 7 out of 10. The service was lacking, and my score shows that it was lacking. The lady was kind of a bitch to Jesse, and therefore this was the first time we ever went there. We didn't know like everything that was on the menu, so Jesse was asking questions about the menu, and she treated him, in my opinion, kind of like crap, and therefore when it came time for me to order, I was basically same thing as him, but I want this beer instead. And then I wanted fries instead of what he got as his side, which was these. Well, he'll tell you what he got. I don't like hummus, so that's why I didn't get it. But anyways, the food I said was a 7. Service, because of the way she treated Jesse, I think even after we went back in and we dealt with the other guy, he wasn't all that great or attentive either. So their service gets a 4 out of 10.
Exactly what I get.
And the value, though, I thought the pricing was decent, so I gave that an 8 out of 10. Overall, 6.2. Is it a destination spot? No. Would I meet a friend there? Yes. Would I take a date there? Possibly, if it was on the route to go do something else, and they liked having gyros or some type of Mediterranean food, then I would stop off there for a date. But otherwise, I'd say no. That's what I got. What say ye?
Me say ye. All right. Well, my score's not. Actually, I'm kind of surprised yours was more critical than mine own.
Are you serious?
Yeah. But here's a couple of things. So for me, I tried not to let that terrible service score ruin our whole event. And so I really tried to put that aside. For me, the exterior, so you drive up, I don't love like the location, but we actually got in and out pretty easy. Everything was pretty good. I think that's only because it was slow, but based on this experience, and also loving the outdoor seating, it was it could have been like 5 degrees warmer outside, would have literally been majestic, or sunny, would have literally pushed it over the top. But still, the exterior for me got an 8. Because I really did enjoy just chilling out there with you, enjoying a couple brews and the food in very mild weather. The interior was not impressive. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't impressive. A 6. The service, as Noah mentioned, I'm just in there and I'm letting this host / waitress know, hey, like this is our first time. what do you like? What's going on with the menu? Where are your beers? What are your options? And I wouldn't say, actually, she did seem put off, but she's just very impatient as well, which is interesting because I don't know if this is a long-standing restaurant, and I would think that they'd want to build business, but instead she was very impatient and made me rush through my order. I'm sure I would have spent twice as much ordering all sorts of crazy crap. Instead, I was like, okay, so clearly I'm a problem. What do you recommend? Hero, let's go with that. She asked me what protein I want. I'm like, beef, or steak. She's like, we don't offer that. And I'm like, what are your options? Beef. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's steak to me. Like, chewed up or not, ground or not, let me go with that. And so got the hero. I was thinking about the fries thing, and like literally when I got my hero, I was like, I hate the fucking fries right off the top. And I'm like, maybe that's their thing. Maybe that's what they intend is just eat that shit right off the top. It's already got some sauce, and then you go after the hero. But I got the hero. I got some pita strips with hummus and also a beer. My first beer, which is an IPA, was good. My second beer, which was the same one Noah mentioned, that 1265 was great. It was a fun Pilsner, perfect for the weather. Going back, service was a 4. My food was great. I really did think it was very good. I gave the food, this is to me a high score, all things considered, an 8. The value ultimately a 7, and the value could have been higher. It probably could have been lower, but it's all based on that service score. Overall, I gave it a 6.6. But because of the end of the moment, I don't want any of my friends or a date or anyone to be treated like I felt I was treated. So it's not someplace I would take a friend, a date, and it's not a destination.
All right. On to our Smarter Challenge.
This week's Smarter Challenge! Dude. Franz Herman. Now, this week's Smarter Challenge, Final Destination Bloodlines. And, if you want to do some comparisons in there with the whole Final Destination series, all well and fine. Spoiler alerts, if you haven't figured that out already, we usually say that way too late, so trying to get that in there right now. Final Destination Bloodlines is a 2025 American supernatural horror film directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein. And it's 25 years in the making from the original Final Destination.
Really? The original came out 25 years ago?
2000. And then they went 3 years from 2000 to 2003, another 3 years to 2006.
Ali Carter was pretty hot back then.
Another 3 years to 2009, which they called the Final Destination. Then 2 years, they rushed that one, 2011. Then they slowed way the fuck down to 2025. At the end of the day, it's an interesting film. How I would sum up some of the pieces, I was not impressed with any of the actors. My favorite was Richard Harmon, who played the tattooed up, pierced guy who ended up getting folded into the MRI machine just because his ignorance is bliss type of attitude. But it is an interesting movie that I loved. I loved the death scenes. I hated the movie. Like, it's this weird thing where, like, I'm glad I saw it. I have zero interest in ever seeing it or any other Final Destination again.
I think that's what makes any or all of the Final Destination movies a treat to watch, is that they are known for their intricate and creative death scenes, which are, they're some of them are very clever, some of them are well planned out, but yet they are all very fun and creative. And if you have a dark sense of humor, it will make you laugh how some of these people die just because of the situations they get into. And then also watching whoever the main character is trying to decipher the code that death has given, so that way they can see who's going to die next and how to avoid some of these intricate death scenes. But that's what makes every one of these Final Destination movies fun, in my opinion, and enjoyable to watch is just to see how each of these creative death scenes will occur.
All right, with that, and I know you had seen this before me because originally I was planning on seeing it with my little, and then he just got busy with work and other things, so I ended up seeing it alone. I would have loved to have seen it with you because I'm sure we would have been the two ridiculous guys being laughed at in the theater, as I was this afternoon in the theater. Literally,
People like they weren't really laughing until I started laughing.
People were laughing,
and
at
I
me
think
for
they were
sure.
laughing at me, not so much the show.
No, literally, that's how it started in my theater. There's this couple 4 seats to my right.
Hey, mine was like 3 or 4 seats to my right too.
Yeah.
And they were like, and I'm like sitting there, ha, 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 and then all of a sudden they started laughing. And it wasn't because like at first they were laughing at the death scene like I was.
Yeah.
And then after every like other death scene I started laughing, I think they were laughing at this guy is a weirdo.
Yeah. The basic synopsis of Final Destination Bloodlines 1968. The main character has a premonition, saves way too many lives. Death has to go through and systematically, linearly. This is where it gets interesting, though. It's linearly deal with everyone that she saved in the order that they were saved to get to the end. Any favorite death scenes?
That's good. That's a good question there. I would probably say my favorite death scene. I mean, obviously, like the opening sequence was, as far as like the whole movie is concerned, was phenomenal. Like how the opening death sequence all works out. But if you're talking about the single one kill, and you mentioned one that I really do like a lot at the very beginning with, and he's also my favorite character as well. But I'm going to have to give the number one kill to the grandmother.
Okay, dude, that's where I was laughing so hard.
Because the granddaughter goes there saying like, I keep having this dream about you, blah, blah, blah. Everyone says like not to talk to you. You're this freak, but here I am. And then the grandmother tries to explain to her about death and how death is going through trying to kill everybody. And she's like, you're too much of a freak for me, Grandma. I'm going to leave. And then Grandma's like, no, you cannot leave yet. You have to actually see this for your own eyes so you can believe that this whole like death is coming after our family to kill us all. So Grandma steps out of her safe space.
Idiot.
And goes into the yard and stands in front of the granddaughter. And I forget how the whole sequence happens, but ultimately it ends with a gas tank or something like that gets ignited and shoots something straight up into the grandmother's face, and a rod or something protrudes from the front of the face. Blood squirts all over the granddaughter's face, and she's like totally like shocked and can't say a move. And that to me was like one of the best like death scenes, more so because of how the granddaughter's reaction was, and I'm sitting there laughing like probably a demented person, which I probably shouldn't have laughed like.
I like they spelled it out very well as everyone's going in, and she opens the door and the fire extinguisher falls. And then all of a sudden the wind's picking up, and all of a sudden there's this metal bar hanging, and the metal bar falls on the fire extinguisher, knocks off its point, shoots it through the grandma's head. Freaking hilarious. That is my runner-up.
That is
also what I want to say though is, I don't know if you thought about this. I thought about this a lot. That series of events, the granddaughter is the one who killed them all. Had she just stayed the fuck out, listened to her dad, listened to her uncle, listened to anyone, not went and visited her grandma, they'd all still be alive.
Well, for how much longer? She had cancer, though.
3 months? I'll take it. Give me 3 months instead of 3 terrible days. I'll take it. Please, God. Like, seriously. But stepping back, only because the ironic tragedy and situation of the cousin / sister, depending on which party you are, and the friend, the old cousin friend, who decides to go running and puts in her earbuds and starts running
That was a fun sequence too.
Dude, after the main star's like, you got to watch out, man. That tree trimmer is going to fall and something's going to happen. And next thing you know, the weed blower is going to blow the soccer ball and hit someone and cause an event. And that's literally what unfolds. Kicks the girl's head right into a trash can as the trash truck's picking it up, dumps her up. They all try to save her, but it's ridiculously funny because I'm like, oh, this is the video I want to show my team members where I'm like, hey, don't wear earbuds because the guy's driving the trash truck and they're all like, stop. And he's like, listening to the music jamming out until it's too late. And she's trying to save her cousin, pulling her out of the back of the truck. And she's like, don't worry, you're not next in line. And then you find out she was.
Which goes to like one of my favorite parts of the movie. What a way to find out that your mom had an affair and that your dad's not your dad.
I was laughing so hard. And then after that, the whole audience was alive the rest of the movie.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh.
My theater is exactly the same as yours.
I literally was like, oh, fuck.
Could you imagine being that guy? Because it's funny because like you see death going to kill him.
He handled it so well. Honestly, he really did. Is that why he always wanted to play ball with me as a kid? After that, I just lost it. I'm like, oh yeah.
So that's why death kind of like dipped out on killing him. Like, oh, you're not really part of the lineage.
Yeah. All right. Beyond that, like I really didn't care about any of the actors, which is good because again, spoiler. I actually at the end of the movie, there's a train wreck. The fucking two main characters get assassinated. The last two in the bloodline. Game over. And part of me was like, all right, I enjoyed all the death scenes. I'm kind of glad this shit's over. That's really all I had. Did you have anything else you wanted to cover?
All right. Here, I do have a question for you.
Yes.
This is going to be Scotch.
Candyman.
Nope.
Okay.
Scotch Hour. The Scotch Hour version of this movie here.
Okay.
We've hosted plenty F1 races.
Oh my God, yes.
Now, if we took you, me, Cameron, Torin, and Loopy, and we'll throw Adam in here too.
Okay, so we got 6.
6, yeah. Who would survive, and who and what order would we all die in?
Well, the basis is what order is death coming after us at? Is it based on age? Is it based on a situation? That's a hard call.
All right. So who'd be the most likely to survive then, would you say?
Well, let's go the opposite direction.
Okay.
Adam, I love you, man, but you're out.
Well, see, I've seen that originally too, but he's super into like horror movies and into.
That's the problem. He's welcoming it. He's just staring it in the eyes until it happens.
So you're saying he's like the guy who gets folded up into the MRI machine?
Yeah, literally, he's like, I'm fine.
I'm fine. I know how this all works. I'll save you guys.
Yeah.
And as we find out, it gets messy when you intervene with Death's plan.
Exactly.
Okay. Who would you say would be the next most likely without knowing the sequence?
Man.
I hate to say this, but I think it might be Cameron.
Well, you got Loopy, Cameron, you, me, and
Torin.
Torin left. I actually think it would be Torin getting in the way of death to save Cameron.
Ooh, good point. He would do that.
And then only because I don't know them well enough, I'm guessing Cameron's next.
See, the reason why I'm saying Cameron first, but then you threw in a very good wrinkle there, so I think you're right. It might be Torin to save Cameron.
I think Torin is like to me, I love Torin, and we barely know each other, Torin, but I love you, man, because I think he's such a gentleman. I think he's such a good spirit.
I think you're right. I think, actually, I think he might be one of the very first people, because I think he would try to do that for anybody.
Well, that's just it. Like, Adam, I think, would welcome it. Torin, I think, would get caught in trying to save someone, in particular Cameron. Cameron would be next because she would be, rightfully so, traumatized by the fact that Torin just got taken. Now the question comes in, Loopy, you and me. I think we're honestly, only because it's our house. Loopy's next. But the flip side of here is you and I are going after weapons.
Which house might be the most...
Exactly. Could cause our demise at the same time. So I'm like, I don't know. Now, I think for me, here's what's most messed up, my house. But I think I'm the first one to get out of the house while everyone else dies. So I'm going to say, as I got into my car, unless that FedEx truck plowed me and killed me, I'm the last to die.
I don't think I'd be the last one to survive. I think I'd be somewhere like in the top 2 or 3.
Dude, you and I would be the top 2. The question is, who got killed by their own gun first?
I'm going to put that one on me. And here's the reason why.
Oh, God.
You purchased your guns, and as far as I've known, you have not modified either one of your guns.
Very intentionally, because I'm like, Smith & Wesson knows what the fuck they're doing.
Me, on the other hand, I have modified 2 of my 3 guns. Which means that there is that slight possibility I could have fucked something up.
Human error.
Being that I'm not a professional gunsmith.
All right, man. Almost. You almost got your certificates.
Almost. I am working on them. So, but yeah, so I think it's so that's why I would say if I had to give a guess, if we're reaching for our guns, I would have to say, because you don't do any modifications and I have done modifications on mine, I'm probably most likely.
And I'm only saying Loopy's right before either of us because she was so busy knitting that one of those knitting needles ended up in an eye.
Because she's like, everyone's dying around her and she has like knitting as people are dying. It's like the little kid in Face Off where everyone like that fucking gunshot, like that whole like shootout, and the little kid's like sitting there like listening to music, has like no care in the world. That's gonna be Loopy with her like knitting.
Listen to some Wizard of Oz shit. Yes.
All right. And that's my last question. I thought it'd be kind of fun to like.
I think mathematically, I'd be the first one to be like, fight or flight. Shit just got crazy. Get out. Whereas everyone else has something else they're dealing with. I don't know.
I don't know either, but it'd be kind of fun. It's kind of fun to think about it.
It is fun to think about, and the only reason I'm basing, like the biggest thing I'm basing my answer off of is the number of times I've worked with groups of people, and they all had examples of like that Naked and Alive or Naked and Survive or whatever it is, all these different TV shows, and they're like, you're that motherfucker who'd walk into a goddamn jungle and 6 months later come out looking exactly the same.
All right, one last thing. All right. What order would you put all 6 movies in?
I don't remember them all very well.
Well, I can kind of give you like the main theme. So the first one was the airplane.
Yep.
Second one was the road, was the highway with the truck that had all the logs. The third one, I believe, was the roller coaster.
It was.
The fourth one would be the racetrack. The fifth one, which I don't think I ever saw. So
the really, Final Destination. Yeah, I never saw that.
I think that has to do with the bridge collapsing. And then we got the last one, which is the Bloodlines.
Yeah. I really like the race. So I think I would go 4. And ultimately, none of them were great. But the first one got me invested. So 4, 1, 6, 3, 2, 5.
Okay, so I would probably go the original. That's going to be my favorite. I'd probably go 4 next because I do remember the race and how they're all talking about it. And I think one of the most impactful deaths I remember is a tire smacking some lady's
That
face.
shit literally happened.
So I have to give, because that's the only one death that I remember out of all 6 movies. Like, and I think I only watched that movie once, so I got to give that number 2 spot. Then I probably go put number 2 and number 3 spot. I probably put number 3 in the 4th spot.
So far we're aligned except for 1 and 2. I have 4, 1, 3. You have 1, 4, 3, 2.
And then I probably would put number 6 at number 5.
Dude, we're like literally one movie off each.
And I would have to put the bridge one, just simply because I haven't seen the bridge one, in the last spot.
The Final Destination.
All right. I don't think I have any other questions to ask about this one. Oh, maybe I do. How about all of you viewers? If you're listening to us this far, what would be your order of the Final Destination movies, and what was your favorite death scene in Bloodlines?
All right.
All right. Do you have anything else you want to add about this particular Smarter Challenge?
No, it was interesting to watch. I think the older I get, the more I enjoy the moment, the less I want weak storylines. So ultimately, the more I do want strong storylines, and this did not have it.
No, it's just a fun death movie. All right. On to next week's Smarter Challenge then. Next week's Smarter Challenge, simply because it is movie season, so we'll keep up with the movie reviews. And it is a big movie that we both have been wanting to see. And that is the next evolution, or the next movie in this series, having to do with Mission Impossible, the sequel or the final whatever to Dead Reckoning. Final Reckoning, which is the follow-up to Dead Reckoning. And we get to finally see what happens to the Asian assassin and Vanessa Kirby and his new protege female, whatever her name was, from Dead Reckoning. I don't remember what her name is. The brunette.
She's a great actress. She fits the role well, but when you're dealing with Vanessa Kirby or the others, yeah. I remember the first 2 on the podium. I literally don't remember 3rd or 4th.
You gave him a aircraft carrier? And it'll be fun to see some of these stunts that Tom Cruise pulled off in this one, since he does all of his own stunts.
This particularly the biplane one is the big one.
And ultimately here, and if I overstep, I apologize, but I'm going to say that I know when I grew up, my parents were divorced, and one of the things I remember most with hanging out with my dad on the weekends, I always appreciate going to the movie theater with him to go see movies on his weekends, and I think your kids appreciate that as well. So I think this is a fun weekend for all of us, like you and your children, to go see the movie. I'll see the movie. Maybe I'll join you guys. Maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see how that all works. But I think it'll be a fun experience for every single one of us in the different age groups to enjoy this possibly last episode of Mission Impossible for our Smarter Challenge.
I think with Tom Cruise most likely, but we'll see. It has been a wonderful journey that he's brought us on.
Exactly. I agree with you. I would love to see probably one more Top Gun movie, but this last one,
I don't know how you Top Gun Maverick.
I don't know either, but Jennifer Connelly looked pretty good for her age in that movie.
Pretty good.
The general's daughter.
Oh, no, I remember career opportunities.
All right, with that, if you made this far, thank you very much for hanging out.
Want to work at Target?
Thank you very much for hanging out with us this evening. If you did get a chance to try the GlenTurret, let us know what you feel. If you liked it or not, give us your review on that Scotch as well. Let us know how you feel about Final Destination Bloodlines. and what is your favorite of the series, or how you put the series in your favorite order, as well as what your favorite death scene was. If you do like our content, please like, share, and subscribe. And most definitely, we really do appreciate when you guys leave comments. And we do try to respond to all the comments that we receive. And with that, I am going to toss the ball over to Jesse so that way he can close us out and wish us all a wonderful evening.
All right, remember, life is great. Doesn't always mean it's going to be easy. In fact, the times you stretch yourself for grow moments are some of the most impactful and long
Grow moments.
Jennifer Connelly, anyone? Career opportunity?
Vanessa Kirby.
Do not drink and drive. Drink responsibly. And until we
And
go
our
see
Armis in a couple weeks.
Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, Final Reckoning. Scotchman!
Cheers. Friends Hermit. We hope you enjoyed this evening's episode of Scotch Hour. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you have not done so already, please become a Patron member, with memberships starting as low as $1 a month. Thank you, and hopefully you have a wonderful evening.